A lot of Gen X buyers and investors are waiting for the housing market to get easier. But the April 2026 Albuquerque market report is showing something uncomfortable. Waiting may not be making the opportunity any better. It may just be making the decision harder. Now here's the tension. New listings are down. Pending sales are up. Inventory's down. Detached home prices are still up. And affordability is still tight. So if you're sitting on the sidelines thinking, I'll buy when the market finally gets normal again, I have a question. What is normal? Not comfortable, not easy, not cheap, but normal. Look, if you are Gen X, you're trying to create retirement income over the next 10 to 15 years, waiting for perfect conditions may be one of the most expensive strategies that you can choose. So today we're breaking down the April 2026 Albuquerque housing market report and what it means for Gen X retirement income, real estate investing, and building wealth one door at a time.
Now let's get into the numbers. Across all property types, Albuquerque had 1,196 new listings in April 2026, down 6% from last year. Pending sales were up 17.9%. Closed sales were down 2.6%. The median sales price rose 5.3% to $372,500. Inventory dropped 9.3%, and months supply fell to 2.2 months. That is the story in one sentence. Fewer homes came on the market, more homes went under contract, inventory tightened, and prices still moved higher. That is not a dead market. That is not a crash. That is a tight market where serious buyers are still active. A lot of people keep waiting for weakness, but this report is showing something different. Buyers may be frustrated. They may be payment sensitive. They may be more selective than they were a few years ago, but they are not gone. Now for single-family detached homes, the numbers are even more important. New listings were down 6.8%, pending sales were up 16.7%, closed sales were down 3.1%, and the median detached sales price rose 4.4% to $380,000. Inventory dropped 9.8%, and months supply fell to 2.2 months. That tells us detached homes are still holding strength. If you are a buyer waiting for sellers to suddenly lose all leverage, this report does not really support that. And if you are a seller, yes, there is still opportunity, but tight inventory is not permission to overprice a tired house. Buyers are still watching condition, payment, repairs, and value. Here is the part Gen X investors need to pay attention to. The detached median price was $364,000 in April 2025. In April 2026, it was $380,000. That is a $16,000 increase in 1 year. So if you waited a year hoping Albuquerque detached prices would drop, the market did not reward that waiting strategy in this report. That does not mean you should panic. It does not mean every house is a good deal, and it definitely does not mean investors should buy anything with a roof and call it a retirement plan. But it does mean waiting is not automatically risk-free. Now, attached homes tell a slightly different story. Attached properties had new listings up 1.8%, pending sales up 31.9%, closed sales up 2.5%, and days on market down 15.6%. The median attached sales price slipped slightly to $265,000. That matters because attached homes are still more affordable than detached homes. The attached affordability index was 124 compared to 87 for detached homes. A higher number means greater affordability. So if detached homes feel out of reach, buyers and investors may start looking harder at townhomes, condos, and other attached options. But be careful. Attached housing can come with HOA fees, rental restrictions, special assessments, insurance issues, and rules that can ruin your investment plan if you do not read the documents. The lesson is not, go buy any condo. The lesson is, look at the numbers, understand the rules, and know what job the property is supposed to do. Now let's talk affordability, because this is the pressure point in the market. Across all property types, affordability stayed at 89. Detached affordability was 87. Attached affordability was 124. That tells us the market is still tight for normal buyers. Prices are not low. Rates are not painless. Insurance is not cheaper. Property taxes still exist. Repairs are real. And if you are buying real estate for retirement income, you cannot stop at the mortgage payment. You need to know the cash flow after vacancy, repairs, taxes, insurance, reserves, management, and financing costs. A rental property is not a good deal just because the rent is higher than the mortgage payment. That is beginner math. Real math asks, what happens when the water heater fails, the tenant moves out, insurance jumps, or the property sits vacant for a month? If the deal only works when everything goes perfectly, it is not a retirement strategy. It is a daydream with a roof. So what does this April report really mean? For sellers, it means there is still demand, but buyers are not dumb. Price it right, prepare it well, market it clearly. For buyers, it means do not wait for easy. Get prepared. Know your financing, your payment comfort zone, your must-haves, and your trade-offs. For investors, it means stop buying averages and start underwriting deals. The market average does not matter if the individual property does not cash flow. This is especially important for Gen X. If you're trying to build retirement income over the next 10 to 15 years, you do not have unlimited time to recover from lazy decisions. Appreciation is nice, but appreciation is not the plan. Cash flow, reserves, debt structure, and management are the plan. So here's the big question. What exactly are you waiting for? If you are waiting because your finances are not ready, that is wise. If you are waiting because you need clarity, that is responsible. But if you are waiting for a magical market where prices are low, rates are low, inventory is high, sellers are desperate, and every rental cash flows beautifully, you may be waiting for a fantasy. Markets rarely give perfect conditions. They give trade-offs. The strategy is not to wait until everything is easy. The strategy is to learn how to make better decisions in the market we actually have. That is the one-door mindset. You do not need to buy 10 properties this year. You do not need to become a real estate mogul. You do not need hype. You need one smart move, one clean set of numbers, and one disciplined decision at a time. The April 2026 Albuquerque market is not easy, but it is not dead. Demand is still active, inventory is still tight, detached prices are still rising. Attached homes may offer a more affordable entry point. Sellers still have opportunity. Buyers still have opportunity. Investors still have opportunity. But this is not a market for guessing. It is a market for clarity. If you are Gen X and trying to build retirement income over the next 10 to 15 years, you do not need panic or perfect timing. You need clean numbers, a practical strategy, and a better way to think about real estate. That is exactly why we created the One Door Challenge. It is designed to help you think through real estate, retirement income, cash flow, and your next practical step one door at a time. Start the One Door Challenge at www.christensenproperties.com/ODC. I'm Joshua Christensen with Christensen Properties, powered by R1 of New Mexico.